We're beginning a fractions unit. Now, fractions I know sometimes are a little bit, scary. I'm trying to make it so that it's not very scary. Just as with any unit, we're going to start with the basic concepts. What is a fraction? What does it represent? How do you write it? How can you see a fraction as that? And I guess the first thing that we need to know is a fraction. They're just like decimals. We're talking about parts of a whole. Okay? So right here, I have some examples of a whole circle. Okay? Well, I can divide that into parts, and I can represent that with a fraction. Decimals only work with special things. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, parts of a whole. Fractions work with everything else. It doesn't matter if it's divided into 2, into 3, into 4, into 976. It doesn't matter. Fractions can show us that. There are two main things when we think about fractions that we need to know. Well, we'll start off with this. Alright, so I have a whole, and then I divide it into a certain amount of parts. Okay? In this, 4 parts make up the whole. Okay? So there are 2 parts to a fraction here. Okay? The numerator up top and the denominator. The denominator shows exactly what I've shown here. I take my whole, how many parts make up that whole? Okay. So in this instance, 4 parts make up that whole. Okay. That's called the denominator. Okay. So if I were to make this square into 6 equal parts, almost equal, but I'm a good drawer, so it counts, into 6 equal parts, that's the denominator. How many parts are in that one square? 6. Denominator goes at the bottom. Okay, so this would be 6. Okay, well, let's look at this cup of brown liquid. It's about half full. Okay, half means 2 parts. Okay, then we see fractions. A lot of times fractions, rulers, okay, are divided into 8 equal parts. Okay, so the denominator here would be 8. For my class, for instance, I have 34 students. How many students make up my whole class? 34. Denominator. Bottom of the fraction. Okay. Then, when we start talking about, well, I only want to take one of those parts of the circle. That's when we start talking about the numerator, which is the top part of the fraction. Okay. The numerator is just when we start talking about how much of that whole. That's the numerator. We are enumerating a certain part of that. Okay? So 1/4. 1 over 4. Looks like a fancy division problem. That's exactly what it is. Okay? Right here, say I only needed 2 of those 6 things. The denominator, because the whole is divided into 6 parts, and I only want 2 of them. 2 out of 6. Okay? I'm drinking half, 1/2. And say when I'm measuring the length of this Tootsie Roll, because it's brown, it goes 1, 2, 3 lengths of that to make 3/8. 3 out of 8. Okay, so basic concepts. We have a numerator, which is the top portion of the number. Numerator. We have the denominator, which is the bottom portion of the fraction. Denominator. And fractions, we're talking about parts of the whole. Once again, numerator is how much we're talking about, and the denominator is, well, how much is our whole divided into. Fractions, basic concepts.